Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Mann. I am a professional network marketer and actor, and I'm also an EFT practitioner. And today I'm joined by Tom Peyton. Hi, Tom.
Hello.
Tom is the owner of Elevate Digital. I absolutely love, Tom, that on your profile, you say, on your LinkedIn profile, you say that you are a marketing and SEO geek, a love advocate, and you say you're obsessed with human potential, growth, and development. So how about we start with your obsession? So
Absolutely.
how old were you when you realised that you wanted to explore your potential, and how have you done that?
That's a really good question, actually. I was never really that aware of even what human potential was until my mid-20s. And it stemmed from me really hitting rock bottom in terms of my anxiety. I think for a long time, I was just very lost, very confused. And, over the years, my anxiety just built up and built up and built up. And it got to a point where I didn't know what else to do. So I kind of went on Google, as we do, and just started Googling things like, what's the meaning of life, and getting into all these videos, started reading lots of books. And it just opened my mind up to a world that I hadn't ever even seen before. And it just turned into a passion from there.
And is that when your anxiety stopped?
I mean, it wasn't instantaneous, of course. It took time. It was an absolute journey. And look, I'm not going to say it stopped. It's not like I never get anxious. I still, of course, get anxious, but I think the change has been that now I am able to kind of recognize and see my emotions and process them and move on. Whereas before, I was kind of getting into a cycle, like a vicious cycle. Like I'd get anxious and I'd try and fight the anxiety, and then obviously it just gets worse and worse and worse. So it just spiraled out of control.
Wow. Okay. Actually, for anyone who's watching and they're seeing kind of you kind of zoom in and zoom out, that's
Oh
nothing to
yeah,
do
it's
with
my
their
camera.
vision. That is your camera, isn't it? Yeah.
It
Just
is
to
my camera.
clarify that. So one of the things I think is absolutely brilliant is the fact that you do describe yourself on your profile as a love advocate. Now, that's not really something that most people would choose to do, particularly on something like LinkedIn. So what made you decide to do that, Tom?
For one, I've always been a bit rebellious, and I know, like you say, LinkedIn isn't really the kind of platform where people put things like that. So that's one of the little tick boxes for me, my little rebel tick box. But the other thing is I am really, really, really passionate about love and about showing kindness, compassion, and love to each other. There is so much hatred and bitterness on, even on LinkedIn now. It's gotten quite bad, people commenting on posts and say, you can't say this is outrageous. It's like, I think we're all entitled to our opinions, right? But you don't need to kind of put other people down in the process of sharing your opinion. There are much more compassionate and loving ways of sharing different viewpoints. So I think it was just taking a stand, right? And kind of helping people see that. And I think when you do something that's not normal, you kind of open up a door for others to do the same. It kind of opens up a gateway for others to walk through.
I couldn't agree more. I absolutely love the way that you put it as well. So it's brilliant that you obviously own your inner geek, and being able to do what you love and actually get paid for it is probably everyone's dream, isn't it? So tell us about your company, Elevate Digital, and how you actually help people.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a bit of the background about it. So because my career was in the automotive industry, so completely different industry. Worked in a number of different roles, from sales to marketing to customer service. But ever since school, I have always two things. I've always been very, very geeky. I've always loved computers, loved gadgets. I started building websites when I was about 17, 18, started building computers when I was like 15. So I've always been very geeky. I love technology, but I've also always been very curious and fascinated by people and human psychology, why we do the things we do, always reading books about psychology, consumer behavior, things like that, just because I found it fascinating. So after I went through this period coming out of my, anxiety, my depression, I kind of looked at what am I actually good at? What do I enjoy doing? What am I doing with my spare time? What kind of things am I looking at? What are my passions? And these are the two things that came up, and I put the two together. Oh, digital marketing. Let's give it a go. So I decided to leave my job and try it. No formal qualifications or anything like that, but I knew what I did understand was people, and I understood technology. And I think when you combine those two things, it becomes very powerful, and that has absolutely proved to be the case. So ultimately, what we do for people is to really help them to cut through the noise and create a digital strategy that's really going to help them to grow their business online. Because I think that the big problem that I saw in this space is there is so much noise when it comes to marketing, right? You've got like funnels and chatbots and SEO and this and that, and it becomes so overwhelming. And from a lot of the businesses I was speaking to, this was the thing. It was like, I don't even know where to start. Like there's just so much noise, so much stuff out there. Like I don't even know what to do, and it becomes very overwhelming. So we kind of, one of the other things that I think I'm quite naturally talented at is being able to break down quite complex topics and subjects and make them very, very easy, simple, and digestible. So I work with our clients on the strategy side and help building out those strategies. We then have a team that we work with of specialists in each areas like SEO and paid advertising, who really help to kind of amplify those results and take it to the next level. So that's what we do.
Wow, that is music to my ears, because I am a little bit of a technophobe, and I have to say that when people start talking to me in tech speak, my eyes glaze over and I just kind of leave the building.
Yeah.
I think really, no matter what profession you're in, you really need to be a good communicator, and that's obviously something that you are good at. And thank goodness for people like me who might be looking for your services. So that's fantastic. Now, I happen to know that about 7 years ago, you spent 2 years as a special constable, didn't you? And I imagine then your communication skills were really, really tested. So how about you tell us, why you chose to do that and what it was like in that environment?
That's a really good question. I haven't been asked that before, but you've done your research. It was incredibly tough. It was incredibly challenging. And this was probably around the time maybe when I was kind of starting to get into self-development a bit. And I think that's one of the reasons I did it, just to kind of push my comfort zone, because I knew that it was going to be an absolute challenge, and still being quite anxious at the time. It was like, oh my God, like, this is, why am I even doing this? It was an extremely challenging experience, but also extremely beautiful and eye-opening at the same time. So obviously, the role of a special constable is pretty much doing the same things as a regular police constable would do, albeit we're doing it voluntarily. So we have powers of arrest, all of that stuff. So there's a lot of responsibility in it, and the role is obviously incredibly varied. You are dealing with all sorts of situations, all sorts of different kinds of people, and it gives you this fascinating kind of perspective and viewpoint on the world of just seeing how everybody is in their own world, right? Everybody is living in their own world. And I think we can come to see that over time just from our lives, but it's like an accelerated version of that. You're going from so many different situations where somebody could have lost a loved one, to an assault, to a robbery, to some kids like messing around on the street. Like there's all sorts of different things, and it's really, I think it helps you to develop compassion. There's probably two ways you can go. You either develop a very pessimistic view of the world, which is understandable. And when I was speaking to a lot of people there, I think, you could tell that they do have that, and they provide counseling for a lot of the police staff as well. or you can use that to really build up this sense of compassion and like, wow, like we're all just kind of lost and stuck. And these people that you see on the street who, you know, you think have got it all sorted out. Oh, look at this person. They're just amazing. Like everything they do is amazing. You have no idea what's going on behind the scenes for that person. So it really, really opens your eyes, but it also, you have to think on the spot, like you say about communication. You really do have to think on the spot. And I think it probably made me quite good at improvising as well. Because of, you know, these situations that you're thrust into and you just have to react. You know, you have to react, and not only do you have to react, but you have to react in a way that is best for this person, this individual, the situation. So there's a lot of things you kind of have to take into consideration at the same time.
Yeah. Were you ever scared?
Always. It was kind of like every time you kind of go to the locker room, you put the gear on, you get in the car, because we were going out on like shift. The adrenaline levels are just insane. Like there's so much fear. You never know what's going to happen. You know, you just never know. There was one time, you know, we were called to this traveler site, and it was pitch black, and we were going through, and there's all these people standing outside their caravans, like giving us evils, and these dogs barking, and it's like, there's like two of us in the car, and it's just like, oh my god, like what are we getting ourselves into here? And you just don't know. And as a result, when you come back off shift, you have this massive adrenaline peak, and then you plummet, like so tired. I'd come home and I'd just pass out.
I guess even putting on the uniform, in a way, a bit like an actor, though obviously you're not playing a part in a way. You know, you have a role, but it is very different. But I imagine that even putting on the uniform enables you to, become the constable.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So taking that off must be such a relief as well.
Yeah.
Back to normal.
It's quite heavy as well, you know.
I bet.
Like you got the vest, and then you got the thing, and you got your belt with all the stuff on it. It's yeah.
I know that earlier on this year you started co-hosting a podcast, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so that was a really, really cool project. So it's a podcast that I started with two childhood friends from school, which in itself was amazing because, you know, we lost touch. We didn't really speak much anymore. So it's really great just being able to do that. And we started it around gaming, you know, which is, it was a bit of a kind of a throwback, like nostalgia podcast where we just talk about gaming. We just had an opportunity to geek out and just have some fun and catch up. It was so amazing. And I think I was telling you the other day, like it's so cool because you can go and view the statistics of the podcast, and we see it's been viewed in like, I can't remember what it was, like 16, 17 countries or something, but it's just crazy to think like, oh my God, like all these people are just listening to our rambling.
Brilliant.
It's so cool.
Having fun and they're tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so cool.
Fantastic. And the name of your podcast, that's a good one, isn't it?
Two Dads, One Lad, yeah. So both of my friends from school are dads now. So we thought, hey, two dad, one lad. Like I'm the only one who's not a dad yet.
Love it. So how would someone find out more about you, Tom, if they want to?
I'm pretty active on all of my social media channels. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, my podcasts. I've got a YouTube channel as well. It's mainly around marketing the YouTube channel. But yeah, you can find me on any of those platforms. You'll be able to spot me pretty quickly. I've got a bright blue background. So I'm the only Tom Peyton, I think, with the bright blue background.
Blue's obviously the theme, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you say on your profile that you're here to make a huge positive impact in the world. So what is the impact that you're making, do you think? And what's the legacy that you intend to leave?
The impact that I really want to make, like, honestly, I used to get so caught up on this, like, oh, I want to have an impact, but I don't know what that impact is, and all of this, and it used to like really frustrate me, you know, because I couldn't figure out like what is this thing I want to do, and to be honest, like I've really simplified it in recent years, and it's just I want to just make people smile. you know, everybody that I come into contact with, I just want to be able to put a smile on their face and spread a bit more kind of happiness and joy into the world. Like if I can do anything, like I'd absolutely settle for that.
Wow, that's mine too, Tom. I think you cannot underestimate the power of a smile.
So
Absolutely.
true.
Yeah, they're infectious, aren't they?
Yeah.
Anyhow, Tom Peyton, anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Anything else I'd like to say?
Final words of wisdom.
Fine.
No pressure.
I think what I would say is I was actually sharing a video on Instagram this morning on my stories, and I was talking about how, you know, obviously there's a lot of uncertainty in the world at the moment. It can be very scary, I think. And one of the things I do that I think really helps to keep me grounded is to be very intentional with being in a state of gratitude, because I think we can it's so easy when you know, when times are tough, when we're going through a scary situation, to completely forget about all of the things that we have to be grateful for. So one of the practices I do every morning when I wake up and when I'm putting my water into my water bottle, I before I drink it, I just look at it and I say thank you. Like you don't have to verbally say it if you don't want to, but I just say thank you. And it really helps to ground me and realize, like, flipping hell, like, how lucky am I to have unlimited running water, clean water, right? When a lot of people don't have that luxury. It's something that is always there for me, touch wood, and it's something that we can be grateful for.
Well, I'm very grateful that you've reminded us about gratitude, because it is so very powerful, isn't it? Tom Peyton, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Julie.